user, Cletus Cassidy. Like I told Mysterio, no one can control the symbiotes. No one I've met, anyway. Take a breather, Spidey. It's over. Well, just another day in the life. Whoa! What the? Is that Hawk? Spider-Man, friendly neighbor Spider-Man. Place is gonna blow. I gotta get out of here.
Experiencing this for the first time as a child was absolutely terrifying. My gosh, this guy chasing you with that. It's like, dude, really? Man, and this level was so bloody difficult too. Like, they are such wonky ass controls. Now, I will say I never played it on Dreamcast. I was a PlayStation 1 guy personally, so this design was a little bit odd to me. He's a little bit more detailed, a little bit more slimmed down. His teeth are a lot more pushed out. So when it came to commissioning this guy, I wanted to get it accurate because I know that this particular game, whether it be Dreamcast or PlayStation 1, it has such a huge nostalgia for so many people out there. So I wanted to do the Dreamcast design really, really well. I wanted to really emphasize its accuracy. Now also, in terms of the design, the customer didn't want to go the cel-shaded, blocky, old school graphics type like I did with the PS1 Venom. So the customer wanted more detail, almost as if, you'd see a 3D render, or if you were to see a statue where they take the original design and they just emphasize it into more of like a realistic take. Around the same time of commissioning the Monster Hawk, I was also making a Absolute Carnage Riot, and the customer ended up purchasing that as well. So I wanted to kind of include them in this video so you can see them side by side.
It's not over yet. Detail. Die!
So as for the mold, it's Omega Red, and obviously it's been heavily modified. It's had a lot of sculpt detail added to it. The prep had to be done even though the mold was red, simply because I didn't want any of that extra sculpt hinder any of the articulation points. The extra goopy bits are wire, then I've sculpted over the top of them and then used plastic resin to solidify them into the body on top, and then I've gone in and used green stuff again to sculpt all over this and make that really gooey, gross mess that symbiotes tend to have. As for the feet here, it was important to have the 4 toes, 1 on the back, 3 on the front. It was very important to kind of get that accuracy down. Also, you'll notice that the goop, it's not really done in a way that looks realistic. It's done in a way to kind of match the Dreamcast graphics, which completely contradicts what I just said. As for articulation, the only real difference is the neck articulation because of the range of movement due to having a completely different head. Even with all the sculpt on the butterfly joints, they still articulate and function perfectly fine. This is because I dremeled out most of the plastic to allow room for the articulation to function. That's why none of the paint is coming off. Don't know if you just saw that there, but I just broke that joint in for the first time technically because I went in and added Kiki, and that creates the joints to be ultra stiff, and I do this to every single joint after it's had all this work done to it, so it feels like a brand new figure all over again. One thing I really like about this custom is the onyx paint job that I applied. It's almost like a gunmetal to those tendrils. I know that's not accurate, but I just really liked that color. The waist and the ab crunch all functional again. The legs perfectly fine. Everything is pretty much a-okay, other than maybe the wrists really, and that's again because of how big they are. Look at the size of them. They also had tons of modification, man, because if you actually look, they are the Omega Red hands originally, and then they've had like wires, and then I built off that structure and turned them into those claws. You'll also notice that all the peg holes have been filled in. With most of my customs, underneath the feet looks the ugliest. You know, you can't really cover that up, and at the end of the day you're standing on the feet permanently. They're never really shown, but that is one of the biggest drawbacks to customs. Also, I added these tendrils, so I went about it a bit of a different way. I used McFarlane ball pegs into the back, and then I cut and sliced in between one of the joints, and then basically flipped the articulation round, so where it would plug into the Hasbro figure, I used that plug-in mechanism as an articulation joint. So it has the full ball range, which, you know, is quite a lot. You know, up, down, swivel, the whole thing, you can pretty much move it however you want. And then they also twist and turn. Some Spider-Man references for your size comparisons. Now, a lot of these figures and their molds are outdated, but again, this is an older custom, guys. So, you know, I pretty much used what I had. I no longer own this many Marvel Legends, believe it or not. So, yeah. To all the Patriots of the Symbiote Seeker Patreon page, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting me and my work so that I'm able to create these videos, able to create content, able to consistently customize and keep the dream alive. I appreciate you so much. And if you'd like to support the channel and keep me continuously creating customs and creating YouTube content, then please back the Patreon page. And on that note, I'll catch you on the next one.
My God!